Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Bryan with another knife review for you. Today, we have the Spyderco Roadie. Cool little slip joint knife from Spyderco. I got this because a lot of you guys were saying, when are you going to review some traditionals? We want to see some traditionals. So I'm not a big traditional fan usually, but did I do it right? I don't know. I'm going to get a traditional. You know, it's going to be weird, and obviously, knowing me, good chance it's going to be a Spyderco. So this is the first. I'm going to get more traditionals. I'll get some more like normal stuff like case and stuff, but I thought this is a cool first traditional for me to review. And I was actually, when I got it, I wasn't 100% sure I was going to review it. I thought about it. I kind of got it because it was thrown in on a trade, but then I posted it on my Instagram and some people started asking for me to review it. So here we go. It is a very cool knife that was designed by Spyderco in 2013 to fit a TSA requirement. The Transportation Safety Authority was going to let us carry knives on planes for a minute, and then they decided not to. So they designed this for a requirement that went away, but Spyderco thought, hey, you know what? Made a cool knife. We're just going to keep making it. It's a cool design, and they still do to this day. I think they came out in like 2014, and they still make them. And they're cool little knives. Let's get into the specs on it before we get into a whole lot. As I said, it is before we get into the specs, as I said, it is a slip joint. Just if you guys don't know what a slip joint is, it is a non-locking knife. This is one of those TSA requirements. It does have a 2-stage lock, which is very nice, but it is a non-locking knife. It's not, there's no Spidey flicking going on, nothing like that. This is just like your traditional case or something like that in its overall operation. Spec-wise, it is a pretty small little lock, or a pretty small little slip joint. Also, you have a blade length of just over 2 inches, an overall length of about dead on 5 inches. You have the cutting length's a little bit shorter because it has these nice finger choils, which we'll get to later. About 1.7 inch. Blade thickness, 0.11 inches, which seems thin, except for it's such a small little blade. It looks like a stocky, beefy little blade. It is a very stocky, beefy little blade for a traditional knife, so I do like that very much. You're looking at Bowler M690 steel, by the way, which is pretty cool. That's steel you don't see around a whole lot. Made in Italy, as you can see from there. We have a weight, which is very cool, of under an ounce. Spyderco calls it an ounce, but it's actually, on my scales, it's less than that. And these scales have proven to be pretty accurate once they boot up. Yeah, I've got 0.94 ounces, so it's a very, very light, small, cool little knife. Handle length is, I'll measure it over here, under 3 inches. Not a long handle length. That's not what this thing is about, really. And you can see close length and size. Let's do some size comparisons here. I kind of had a hard time finding some stuff to do size comparisons to because this is so small. I don't have a lot of knives this small, but I did find a couple things I forgot I had. I think this came in a package thing or something. I forgot I even had this thing. This is the SOG Micron 2. So it's a pretty similar overall length to that. This is a lockback design. A knife that I completely forgot that I owned. It's been sitting in the bottom of my tennis bag for a long time. This is an old Gerber 500. Another semi-traditional. It is a lockback, but semi-traditional. The only other slip joint that I carry regularly, SOG Terminus. And the Spyderco Chaparral, another small pocket knife, but still dwarfs this thing. They're nice and matchy though, aren't they? And last but not least, just to get something that you guys, more of you guys actually have to see the size comparison, this is the Delica 4. So, got all that out of the way. Let's just talk about this knife. I really like a lot of things about this knife. First of all, the quality is great. This is a Italian-made Spyderco. You don't see those very often, but they do a good job. As I said, M690 steel, which is great, especially on a blade this small. All the fit and finish tolerances are really nice. You can adjust the pivot, but you can't take it apart. It is pin construction. So, but on a traditional like this, you're not going to slip joint. You're not going to be doing that very much anyway. Just blow it out, drip some oil in there every now and then, and it's going to be fine. I kind of do like the looks of it. I will admit it's ugly, but it's ugly in a cutesy little way, like a pug. I just like It's a cutesy little ugly thing, and I kind of like the looks of it. I know looks are in the eye of the beholder, but I think it looks good. And it is FRN handles, which don't always impress me, but these are really nice. They're really nicely done. They're not grippy or anything. They're not textured, because they don't need to be. This handle is so small that, you're mostly not going to be touching that. We'll get to this more in the ergonomics, but you're mostly going to be holding on up here by the, by these little choils, which are awesome. But there's enough there to hold on to. It actually works pretty good in the hand, but like I said, we'll get to that more later. The blade itself, very useful little blade. As I said, M690 steel. That's good. It's a full flat grind. Came out of the box sharp, has stayed sharp. This thing's been in my pocket since the day I got it 2 weeks ago. And I mean, literally has not come out of my pocket because it's so small. Just throw it in my pocket and it just lives there. I think it's been in my pocket more than it's been out in the air. It's really, really cool. The little blade, it's useful as hell. I pull it out all the time. Great for cutting boxes. Great for most of your, kind of everyday, mundane tasks. You gotta cut a box, you gotta cut a strap on something, you gotta cut a piece of string or something. It's super, super easy for that kind of stuff. Yeah, I really like the blade shape on it. Little sheep's foot kind of design. I'm quite fond of it. I really am. It's not big, obviously. You're not going to do a lot of big crazy stuff with it, but I think the blade shape for this, what the purpose of this knife, is outstanding. I think that Spyderco really knocked it out of the park with that. Now, ergonomics, as we said, this is a Sal Glesser design, which usually is going to mean it has good ergonomics, and this one does. One of the most unique things about this knife compared to other small traditionals, and most traditionals actually, or most slip joints, is it does have the typical Spyderco finger choils, which are awesome on this thing. It makes it so easy to use. You want to choke up and do fine detail work, it is outstanding, and it gives you more purchase to hold on to it. I love the choils on this thing. It is definitely my favorite thing about this knife. And they're kind of a safety feature too, because when you close it, you're not going to hit blade. If you screw up and the knife does accidentally close on you, first of all, you have that second stop, and even if you go past that second stop, you're not hitting blade. You're just going to be pinching your finger against that choil. So these little choil things make all the difference for me on this. This is, I would say, I would call it a high-tech traditional, and I love that. I love those little choils about it. And carry-wise, like I said, it's so small. It weighs less than an ounce. It kind of just lives in my pocket. It's easy just to kind of forget that you have it. I've said this about other knives too, but this is one that's, I'm going to go through the wash a few times, but it's not a complicated mechanism. It'll be fine. I'll just shoot some oil back in there. It'll be all right, but it's going to go through the wash. I'm going to forget that it's in my pants one day and throw my pants in the wash, but it's really good to carry. It's so light and so small. I really do enjoy that. And deployment-wise too, it's not fun. Of course, slip joints aren't fun to play with, but instead of using a nail nick, which I hate because I keep my nails pretty short, it's got this cool, they call it the double dent, and it's awesome. You can grab it very super easily to open it up on either side. There's no sharpness, opens and closes very easy, and it's smooth. There is some tension there, obviously, because this is a slip joint, but it's very, very smooth. It feels very high quality, like a good high quality piece, and it should, because they cost, let me make sure I get it exactly right, this is $52 right now. So for a small little slip joint, it's a bit expensive, not gonna deny that, but you do get Bowler 690, which I think is a pretty good steal. You do get these forward finger choils that you can't get anywhere else, and if you're a snob, it is a Spyderco in the end. I would rather see it be like 30. If it was 30, I'd probably have 3 of them, because they make them in a whole bunch of different colors. They make it in this gray, they make it in a black, they make it in orange, they make it in a blue. But it's a bit pricey, but I don't think after having it in my hands that it's crazy expensive. I really do like it. And that's kind of my conclusion, is this is a great little slip joint. I have lots of uses for this, and I kind of got it on a whim because you guys been asking about doing traditionals, and I did it to fill out a trade, but I'm so glad I did. It is very, very cool. I mean, I'm going to use it for just everyday stuff. It's going to continue to probably live in my pocket, especially like in the summertime when I just want to have some kind of blade with me, but I'm going jogging or something like that. It may wind up living in my tennis bag, which is where this, I'd forgotten I even had this old Gerber. That's just for cutting. I have to tape up my fingers when I play, so it's going to be used for athletic tape cutting and stuff like that. If I found a used one for cheap, I might even get a second one and just throw it in the tennis bag and leave it there forever. I'm going to use it for when I go to Europe because I know it's legal everywhere, and that's mostly what the SOG Terminus's purpose is, but now I can have two. So a whole lot of purposes for this knife. It is for a second or third knife. If you're a woman, throw it in your purse and leave it there, or if you're a man that carries a purse, throw it in your purse and leave it there. Very, very cool knife from Spyderco. I'm so glad they still make it. I'm really kind of surprised that they still do. I can understand why they did if they put all the design work into it, and that why they would have made it for a while. But I'm kind of surprised they still do. But I'm very glad they do. Very, very cool little knife. I'm kind of enamored with it. It's my ugly little pug knife that I just keep in my pocket all the time. So I hope you guys have found this informative. Talk to you later. Have a good one.